What's up, everybody? Welcome to the exciting X-Men Ultimate Draft. I'm your host, Jordan, aka J-Wop of the Posse. Joining me today, I have my co-host, member of the Posse, the Groovy One, Grant. What's up, Grant?
What up?
We have the one of our many comic book experts in the Posse. We got Kris joining us today. What's up,
What's
Kris?
going on? What's going on?
And then we have the spectacular. We have one of the nicest guys you ever meet, Memphis legend, one of the best cosplayers that you'll meet at any convention. We got Dom with us. What's up, Dom?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
He's stamped by like 4 real life X-Men. It's just so funny. Like real life actors, whether it's like the live action or like X-Men 97, will just repost a Dom cosplay. So he kind of stamped in a crazy way.
Just go back and look at like any picture with like your favorite X-Men in real life, and you'll just see if you see Dom face in the background. He's like, "Where's Waldo?" He's like, "Where's Waldo?" You just see Dom randomly in the background. I never noticed him before back there. But today we're hosting a Ultimate X-Men draft. We're going to have Dom, Grant, and Kris try to draft the Ultimate X-Men 5-man team, meaning that they're going to draft a 5-man team they feel like would accomplish and be able to do any mission imaginable. The only rules to this is we're excluding Charles Xavier and we're excluding Magneto in this draft. Those are the only two mutants who are off the board. You don't necessarily have to be a former X-Men. It's mutants are on the board if they existed in the X-Men universe. That's the only rules as right now. We already did the randomized draft order off stream. That person with the number 1 pick will be Grant. The number 2 pick belongs to Kris. The number 3 pick belongs to Dom. This is a snake draft. So then the 4th pick will be Dom, then Kris, then Grant, and then back, Grant, Kris, Dom, until we get to the last pick. All right. Before we get into that, here's the intro.
Here we go. You can watch me. I'm scared.
Here we are, Ultimate X-Men Draft. Grant is on the board. Grant, you've had at least 24 hours knowing that you were going to have the number 1 overall draft pick. I'm excited to see who you're going to take because, we also decided maybe 15 minutes before we started this that we're not going to take Xavier. We're not going to have Magneto. So I thought they would be like go-to people, 2 people that was maybe been the first pick. So Grant, who do you take number 1 overall in the Ultimate X-Men Draft?
Well. I was prepared. I was prepared for the event that Magneto and Charles Xavier were off the board. So, with that being said, let me get my girl, the one, the only, Miss Jean Grey.
Grey.
Okay. I got you.
One of the most powerful X-Men in existence. Grant, can you tell me a little bit about what inspires you to pick Jean Grey as your leader? This is your leader of your X-Men squad.
I mean, number 1, I'm going with the tank. I mean, the big guns. If I need somebody to sit down, hey, Jean gonna handle that. There was some other picks on the board that I do want, but I didn't want to reach too far. But that was definitely top 5 that I was thinking of. So Jean definitely gets that spot for me.
Kris, how do you feel about Grant taking Jean Grey as the number 1 X-Men in this draft? As his leader, as we know, Jean Grey is predisposed to tendencies of flying off the rails. How do you feel like that factors into all this?
For the reason that he listed, like why he wanted Jean, I mean, that is a fantastic pick. If you need somebody who's kind of a tank, who can just kind of, deal out a lot of damage and also can just take a lot of damage and just give you like a good way to lead yourself into whatever mission, whatever battle, I think that is a really good pick. But like you said, she just has a tendency to maybe go a little off the rails. And sometimes that does, certain things have to happen to send her off like that. But if we're able to, coordinate missions that he thinks his team can handle with her as a leader, that's a great pick. I can't blame. Like I will say, she wasn't on my board only because I was like, what off do we need to factor in? Just I was like, if she goes a little crazy, you know, they're gonna get me with that one. But again, as the leader, I would say that it's fair to look at it as a point where like Grant is trusting her to not fly off the rails like that. So if we got the, you know, good enough faith to say she's not, that's a fantastic pick as a leader. If you want somebody who's just that powerful. Huh?
She wasn't even on your board.
She wasn't, only because I was worried about like, I don't want it to come back that it's just gonna be like, well, what if something happens that put her in a situation where she kind of goes off the rail? But again, if our first pick is our leader, then that means Grant trusts her enough that she's not going to do that. And if he says she's not doing that, then I can't. That's his leader. If he's saying his leader not doing that, then that's a fantastic pick. Like, not even in that like condescending way. If those are rules that we're going by, you know, fate of the world on the line, aliens pointing down, he wants gray. You can't argue with the man. That's a fantastic pick. He wants Iguodala.
He wants $1. Dom, are you surprised by this pick?
I kind of am, but then at the same time, it is also a good pick. We've seen Jean in the comics. Chris, I don't know if you read this run. It was a X-Men Red where Jean was actually the leader of the X-Men at that point. And
she's got the experience too.
Yeah, she's got the experience to do it, and plus she's one of the most powerful mutants in the world, one of the most powerful telekinetics, and one of the most powerful telepaths. So I think Grant made a great choice. I mean, it's pretty much all that Chris said right there. So I got nothing else to add to that.
Bet. So here's our draft board. You got Grant with the number one pick. Up next is Chris. Chris, you're on the clock right now. Who is number two? Or who's number one? Who's the second overall draft pick? Your number one pick.
Luckily, I know a little bit more than the people on Twitter do, so I'm not going to let some bad movies and some bad opinions on what they think of this character, you know, misguide me. So my first overall pick, I'm going with Scott Summers. Give me Cyclops. Send him over.
Hey, excellent pick.
Put him in that Chris Lowry jersey. Give him a hug, Commissioner. And his hat. But don't knock his glasses off. When you put his hat on, like, be very careful to not knock his don't knock his whole shit off. You're gonna get everybody. Not the sound.
But yes, sir. So Chris is taking Mr. Cyclops, who has shown himself in multiple iterations of the X-Men to be an exemplary leader. A lot of times when people think of X-Men leader, they think of Charles, but they also think of Cyclops. They're pretty synonymous in terms of leading the X-Men. Grant, how do you feel about Chris sliding Cyclops as his number one pick?
Like Chris said, I think Cyclops gets a bad rap. I think like decisions and everything like that. Like I think people be overblowing it sometimes, and then top it all off. I mean, shoots lasers out of his eyes
from another dimension, from a planet where it's just nothing but lasers just shooting 24/7. You know what I mean? Like,
excellent pick. Oh, wrong button. Pull the draft board back up. Grant, you got Chris. Dom, you on the clock. You have 2 back-to-back picks. So let us know who's going to be your number one pick in the first round, and then let us know who your first pick in the second round will be. Let us know.
All right.
Who you think? Who's going to be your leader of your squad?
The leader of my squad is none other than the mistress of elements herself, Miss Aurora Monroe, aka Storm.
Big pick.
Who has often been regarded as one of the greatest leaders of the X-Men, and then also she is one of the most powerful and one of the most iconic mutants out there. So why not have her as the leader of my team?
Boy took an Omega level mutant in the first round. Like, you can't really argue with him.
And you can't
those balls.
So I'm gonna have to ask you. I'm gonna ask you, Grant, this. Why Jean Grey over Storm? Why didn't you choose Storm as your number one overall pick, Grant?
I mean, don't get me wrong, Storm, she got the elements and shit, but Jean Grey, Psyche, we talking like, I ain't gonna say another tier, but at the same time, we talking about like a you see, Storm, she's a step, but don't get me wrong, but Jean Grey, it's like, okay, it don't matter what's going on, y'all need to go whack her. I don't give a fuck. Y'all need to go handle that. Someone okay, she there. She handling business, but like Jean Grey is like, hey, stop what you doing, handle that.
Fair. All right, Dom, you're also still on the clock. Who is your pick? Who's your second pick, the fourth pick of this draft?
The fourth pick of this draft is none other than my favorite Cajun in the whole wide world, aka Mr. Remy LeBeau, aka Gambit. I gotta go with my guy Gambit. That's like
Gambit.
Both him and Storm are my top two X-Men right there. So thankfully I'm able to get my top two, so I'm good.
So let me ask you this. Was this a talent pick? Was this a personality pick? What led you to pick Gambit as your two-man to Storm's one?
He's a wild card. He's a wild card.
No pun
and
intended.
he's another. What'd you say?
No pun intended. Wild card.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a very powerful mutant himself. He's not exactly Omega, but he has the skill set. He has the skill set that can make this team go to the next level. So that's the reason why I chose him. And then another, like I said earlier, he's one of my favorite mutants. So I have to make sure that I had him on my team. And somebody got to represent the South. So
The South gonna hold it down.
South gonna hold it down.
All right, Kris, how do you feel about Gambit being selected so high? He's the fourth X-Men taken in this draft.
It's a surprise that he was taken this high, especially I think if you go off of some of the other people you can do and you kind of compare him to some other people. But like Don, it's not a bad pick, right? There's still like a couple of people who are maybe more in the front of people's heads in terms of like popularity and maybe some of the other stuff that they've done, but they're not all better than he is, you know what I mean? So it's one of those, like, I could think of a couple of people, like even on when I was drafting my list up there, a couple people who I thought of before I got to him, but looking back at that list, it's like, but only like one of them I'm comfortable saying is stronger than him, you know what I mean? So it is like a very good sneaky pick that you can take. Like, you know, the first two rounds, you're going to catch people wanting to take the front of your mind characters in terms of popularity and power. If you can sneak him in and so have a lot of room left to work, I think Dom made another great pick.
Yeah, and
that's like a sneaky one. That's a very sneaky second pick.
And it's also I don't think we've seen Gambit at his full potential yet. I mean, Gambit can do a lot of stuff. And I know people, you know, just think of him as like, oh, he can make his cars explode. And I'm like, he can make
way more
anything, whatever that he wants to explode, and he can use it to his advantage. And then he can also use that. He can also use that energy, you know, for his body, and so that can give him like, you know, super speed or something like that. So it also works to his advantage as well too. So yeah, it's a lot of untapped potential with Gambit, and I think he can make some really, really good plays on the team.
I think that happens with Marvel characters more than like DC. Like people, they have characters who end up being like not sleep on, but like they're kind of gimmicked, quote unquote, into the first thing that you think about them doing with their power. So it's like Dom said, people think that it's just a card, but it's like that's just how he chooses to manipulate his power because of his background, his association with that kind of stuff. But again, he can imbue anything. There's tons of Marvel characters like that who people think they can only use their powers on one specific thing. And it's like, well, you know, because of their personality or because of the fun factor for the writing, that's what like the whoever's writing that run or whoever's, you know, directing or that prop, maybe that's what they want them to just be associated with because it just looks cool. But there's so many characters in Marvel, again, who are like Gambit, where they can do it with anything. He just likes cars. Like he'll, you know what I mean? Like he can put a brick in a car on the gas pedal and touch it with his hand, and like he'll kill you with a, you know what I mean? He'll kill you with a Ford F-150 if you ask him to.
Right.
But it's just easy to carry around some cars.
Right. And look at the example of that we got in the X-Men 97 trailer with Wolverine. Nobody would ever think that. Nobody would ever think that. No one would have thought about that. Whoever on the X-Men 97 team came up with that, I just want to give you a huge ass hug for that because never in my life will I ever think of something like that between Wolverine and Gambit. So I just need to give them their props.
We need Gambit, Wolverine, and Colossus do the fastball special. So he throws Wolverine, but let Gambit supercharge him. Let's just add another step to it real quick.
All right, let's move on to the 6th pick of this draft. Kris, you're on the board. Who will be your 2-man? Who will be the second in command following behind Mr. Cyclops?
So this is another one of those. It's going to be a popular pick, a popular character. It is one of those, like, I think I'm feeling good about the picks in my later round, but I'll go ahead and take him now because he's still available. Give me James Howard. Give me Logan. Give me Wolverine. I think that he's going to serve well as, like, my second in command to Cyclops. When they're able to get along well, you know, I think they're going to work so well together. He's going to be able to coordinate my team in so many ways that complement, you know, Scott, because he's 4 billion trillion years old, right? He has so much combat experience. He's seen a ton of wars. He's seen a ton of missions. So I think bringing in somebody with that extra experience on top of his powers, I really like him and Cyclops, you know, maybe co-leading or him just being the second in command on my team. And again, when we think about his powers, he can regenerate. You know, he's not a tank the same way that, you know, Jean Grey is, which I, you know, got to give a lot of shout out to Grant. Again, that's just a huge pick to get somebody who can just take all that damage, but he can regenerate. You know, he has the claws. Obviously, he has the ferocity. He has the ability to kind of mow people down along with the rest of my team. So I'm going to go with Wolverine as my number 2 pick.
Solid pick. Also, there's no Jean Grey on the team for them two to fight over.
That is also right. Or a secret, or a secret third thing that most people don't know about. We'll keep that. That's a different video. I think. That's a whole other video.
Grant, how high was Logan on your board? Do you have him higher than 5th, or would you feel like this is about where you need to be?
I was actually going to draft him with my first 3rd round pick. The reason is because I want to get the higher strength people kind of out of the way, but also at the same time, Logan is he a tank. Like, he's tanked. I mean, like, he survived atomic bombs, all that type of stuff, all that nature and everything like that. So it's kind of like, even when he on the battlefield, like, you sending people out there, like, the most durable, everything like that, he is gonna be number 1. He's probably gonna be number 1. So it's kind of a given.
For sure. But also, you know, you kind of get a leader behind your leader, because, you know, Logan has displayed multiple times that he can, even though he's hot-headed, he can be a leader as well, the X-Men. And that's valuable.
Right.
All right. So with that being said, Grant, you are now on the clock. You have 2 back-to-back picks. Who will be your 2nd and 3rd member of your team?
All right. So the first pick I'm going to go with is none other than I'm surprised she is still on the board.
Oh, no.
But I'm going to go with Rogue.
Rogue.
That's a huge pick, but oh my God, you scared me.
Rogue gonna be in my first pick, you know, seeing all the strengths that she has in absorption and everything like that. I think that she was kind of a given at this point. I'm surprised that she's been able to stay on the board this long. But that is gonna be my first pick. My second pick is going to be the one. Give me totally not spoiling my draft board.
You scare me.
Let me get.
Take your time, Grant. Take your time. In the meantime, because you got a little time, Grant. Dom, let me know. Grant is saying that he's surprised that Rogue was still here. Realistically, who is someone you feel like Rogue probably could have been drafted ahead of, if anybody, so far?
Because Rogue is a pretty hot pick. She is a pretty hot pick, and Grant did take one of my picks, so I'm a little baffled by that. But what was the question one more time? I'm sorry.
Oh, is it who? No, you're fine. If could she have been drafted higher, and if so, over who? Because Grant said he was surprised that she was still there.
She could. I feel like she could have been drafted higher. I think. She probably would have been drafted over Gambit. I want to say. I think she could have been a little higher than Gambit, in my opinion, because just the abilities that she have. She has flight. She has strength, and then of course she can absorb anybody's power by touch. So that is a good high number pick to have on your team, and I feel like she could have been maybe a third or fourth pick in the overall draft. So that's how I kind of see Rogue.
Kris, so the first 2 rounds are now over. How are you feeling so far about the picks that have been placed? Is everything going as you expected?
There are a couple of surprise picks on it. There are a couple people I've had to remove from my board just in general. But it's going about as I think, the first 2 rounds, I think that we would see a lot of the more popular characters, right? Because we've seen them do a lot, and they do have some of the most dynamic skills. Obviously, there's some lesser known characters who you may say are stronger or a little bit cooler than the others. But when you have the opportunity to draft Storm, for instance, with one of your first 2 picks, you have to take her. When you have the chance to take Jean Grey with one of your first 2 picks, you got to take her. She's there. So it's like, it's easy to look at this and like, oh, they're going with the safe picks, but it's like, we're not. This isn't a deep cut contest. This is build your team to, succeed this mission. Yeah, right. Succeed on this mission, and some of those more popular characters, they're that popular for a reason. They have the track record and they have pretty dynamic power. So yeah, it's got some surprises, but again, it's like it's all the faces I'd expect to be because everybody here knows ball. So
yeah, for sure. Grant, have you collected your thoughts? Who's going to be your pick?
I have.
Your third man.
You scare me.
I'm so scared. When we think of, I've drafted some very big powerhouses, right? But this time, I'm going to go strategic method. When you think of this person, you think of somebody like, okay, if I need somebody to infiltrate a place, or I need somebody to sneak and all that type of stuff. Who would be more perfect than the one, the only Mystique?
Yeah.
Ooh, Mystique.
Damn, that's another big one.
That is a really good pick.
Like I was kind of y'all talking about like leadership and everything like that, and you said, and then Jordan came into this was like, you need to send them on any mission, and any mission don't just mean okay, everybody in the radius of 5 miles need to die. Like this is definitely it had to let me kind of even it out a little bit. So
I get it. Like you need a versatile team, a team who's able to accomplish a lot of different kinds of goals. And Mystique brings some dynamic abilities that the rest of the board doesn't really have. In terms of like stealth and covert operations. That's a superb pick to balance our team that has such a powerful member in Jean Grey, a powerful mutant in Rogue. Now you got somebody who kind of like, more of a technical skill player, for lack of a better way of describing them. Dom and Kris, y'all both seem moved by this pick.
I am very moved.
It's a good pick for the reason that he said. Yeah, like not every mission is going to be, hey, go destroy that turret and punch that guy in the chair in the face really hard. Like sometimes you need to we need to get this file out of there. And Wolverine is cool if I'm like, well, we might have to cut some people in half on the way to that file. But if you want to be like, hey, you need to be in and out. We need this mission to be done in 15 minutes. She can just turn into whoever necessary. Obviously, she has, spy-like skills. She's very flexible. She's got, some sleight of hand ability. So, she's that person. She needs a key card. She needs any kind of access. She can swipe that kind of stuff as well. So that is one of those picks that it's a good pick, It's versatility on his team because, again, not every mission is going to be stop this bomb before it goes off and punch the robot in the head. It's like, get that USB drive from that dude. We need that.
1000%. So now we have the first pick of the third round. The clock is on. It's on Kris. Kris, you're up, my boy. Who are you taking next?
So I'm I might be picking this character too early because she is a deep cut. If we only have a couple rounds left, I want to take her because I don't want my team to not have her. So give me not the traditional X-Men that people think of. She's not as popular. She's only been in one movie that was very bad. Give me the leader of Limbo. Give me the Yana Rasputin magic herself. She is. I mean, first of all, she just has. I know that's a deep cut. It's Magik. If that helps you look for it.
Yeah. It's definitely a deep cut, man. Let us lesser known X-Men fans know who she is and why exactly you picked her here.
So she's the ruler of this place that's just called Limbo. It's just kind of this alternate dimension where she can just siphon a lot of powers from, and she can just imbue that in certain things. Like she has this thing called the Soul Sword that she uses, and it's just kind of it's just imbued with the power of the power she gets from Limbo. She was in the New Mutants movie from a couple of years ago. People probably didn't see it because it was ass. But if you remember any of the trailers, it's the girl that's like fly. It's who Anya Taylor-Joy played. She has like the sword that's kind of glowing. I think she had her dragon. She had the dragon too. I think you only see it like a couple of times. Yeah. And she's just awesome. She's very powerful. She is great with the sword. And a big thing that I have on top of the fact that she is like a sorceress and that she is, capable with the weapon, where she has access to. She can also teleport, which is huge. Like there's someone, obviously people think teleport and they do think Nightcrawler, and he's fantastic. And, not just, he's on my board as well. But I think if I'm able to get someone with the powers that she has on top of the ability to teleport with the rest of my team, I mean, she's going to go just real crazy. Like that, her and Wolverine just have the ability to cut through a lot. They have the ability to just not even cut in like the sense like they have swords and claws, just like they can just mow down waves of enemy, right? She's able to teleport. Wolverine is just super durable. I think she can teleport other people as well, using Limbo. And so again, and you see the sword. I mean, the sword, she can just do a lot with that energy that she just has that access to. So yeah, that's a deeper cut. I think that might be the deepest cut on our board so far, because especially in terms of like popular media, she's only just been in one movie, and it's a movie that 8 people on Earth saw, and I think 3 of them are in this, draft right now. But I gotta have, and she's just one of my favorite characters. That's like, I might end up picking her too early. I don't know if she's on anyone else's board, but I can't risk not having her. And again, she's powerful, so it's not a wasted pick.
No, I mean she sounds not busted, but like, first of all, so X-Men with a sword, hard. Second of all, doing it with other powers and abilities plus being able to teleport, incredibly hard. I think that's a superb pick. I think that comes with a lot of utility. I think that could be very versatile. X-Men. I like it. I'm
gonna tell you, I don't want to. It's stupid to try to make comparisons from somebody in one medium to something else. I'll tell you who in JJK has reminded me of her. That might be why I like them so much. Still very, very different, but she reminds me of Yuta. She doesn't have the ability to copy ability, just straight up X-Men who can do that. But like her ability to just have like access to this almost infinite well of energy and be able to imbue it in other weapons and being pretty tactical with it. She's kind of like, I mean, she's, there's certainly a lot of differences between the two.
Her bag,
but she's a lot like, her bag is, she's a lot like a slightly less powerful, Yuta if he was an X-Men.
Yeah. Grant, was she on either one of y'all's board out of curiosity?
She was
no.
So Kris,
that movie ruined the rep. That movie, I gotta get that name out the mud.
Could have been an incredible steal at 5, but we'll come back. We'll swing back to it. So with that being said, Dom, you're back on the clock. You got 2 consecutive picks to make. Dom, let me know who's going to be the third man on your team.
The third man, or should I say the third woman on my team. She is one of the most powerful telepaths in the world, been known to rival Xavier and Jean Grey and many other telepaths. I think she's even beaten Xavier a few times before. So I gotta go with the White Queen herself, Emma Frost.
During BHM, brother.
He's trying to put her in timeout, and she kind of like pushed that all out the way before. So yeah, her bag is a little deep. She tried to spank her brain, and she was like, "No, you can't really do that. I'm not gonna let you do that."
Emma Frost. Grant, how do you feel about this pick, man? In Black History Month.
That's a very good pick. I think the telepath is somebody that you need on your team, where you can find them, you can get them. I like that pick from Dom a lot.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, with that being said, we're now done with the third round. We're
That was a
moving
good
on.
round.
Yeah, man, we're moving. We're moving now on to the fourth round. Dom, can you go ahead and let us know who will be your pick in the fourth round?
This is probably going to be my most riskiest pick.
I love risky.
So he's been known as a enemy of the X-Men for a long time, but recently, with this recent Hellfire Gala that they had before it all went to hell, he was voted as a member of the X-Men after all these years. So my fourth pick for my team of the X-Men is going to be Juggernaut.
Oh, Juggernaut.
I gotta have a tank on my team.
The tank
I
of
gotta have a
tanks.
tank on my team.
That's a good pick. I like that. That person wasn't on my draft board, but at the same time, if you need a tank, I feel like you gotta grab that off the board. Every team needs a tank.
Yeah, every team needs a tank, and who's more of a tank than the man with all the metal and the steel helmet, or whatever his helmet's made out of. I'm pretty sure they have some crazy material in the X-Men universe. Y'all guys will know better than me. Chris, how do you feel about the Juggernaut ramming his way onto the draft board? Was he on your draft board, and how do you feel about this pick at this time?
He wasn't on mine, but like we said, that's a huge pick. If you want like a tank, I know we've thrown that around a lot. Like there are people who are able to be tanks because of their powers or in terms of just what they can withstand due to other reasons. But if you want someone who is just super durable, who can do what a tank is and just clear the way for you and just eat whatever damage on the way, there's not a better guy for that. Especially he works so well with the rest of Dom's team. Like you said about how Gambit is able to imbue other things with his power. If Juggernaut is wearing whatever reinforced metal, armor or suit that he wants, and Remy just kind of, imbues at this power, just says, okay, just run through everything. There's not really anything that the Juggernaut won't just destroy. So, fantastic pick. And then again, when you look at the rest of Dom's team, it becomes an even better pick because you're like, so many people can play off him in incredible ways that, I am mad that I didn't think of him. Imagine if I would have picked him and the magic could just teleport and just drop him on somebody. Just smooth drop him on somebody's head.
Dom, your draft is almost over. How are you feeling so far, man, entering into the last round? Is your draft going about the way you expected?
It's going pretty good. I think I have a good team so far, and I can't wait to see what I got going on in the last round.
All right. Chris, you're on the board, man. After your sleeper pick, who do you have now drafting at the fourth spot?
This one is he's a trickier one. I think that there are people who I could still take over, but I'm confident about what I've built up so far, and I don't want to get too wacky. I'm going to go with Warpath.
Ooh.
Yeah, a sneaky one. Nothing super duper flashy about his powers. It's the quintessential. I want to be a superhero powers. He's super strong. He's super fast. He's durable, and he can fly. But I think that just makes for a very well-rounded character. I don't really have any super strength or any extremely dynamic travel abilities outside of teleportation or anything like speed on my team. So I really needed a guy like that who, you know what I mean? I don't have to worry about him running into anything that can kind of cancel his powers. I know Magneto's not on the board, but there are tons of things that we can think of that maybe nullify Wolverine, maybe things that nullify Scott, maybe something that you can do to stop magic, but Warpath doesn't have weaknesses in the traditional way, so he's just a very good anchor to have on my team.
He's just a tough dude.
Yeah, he is. He just has the quintessential powers, and it's just sometimes you just need to keep it simple with you. Sometimes it's good to just have basic ass powers, and it's damn, they sure are using the power of the sun to negate some of y'all's powers. I'm cool though. I'm cool. I can just I'm just a nigga who's strong, so it's just it's unfortunate that wall is made out of the antimatter that makes up your blood. I'm fine though. I can punch it still. So. You need a punch kick merchant, as Grant would say, on your team every now and then.
Need a Yuji Itatori.
All right. So Grant, you're on the clock now. You will now be the first person to complete your team in full by drafting back to back. Who are you taking with your fourth pick, and who are you taking with your fifth pick in this draft?
So when Kris talked about teleporting, I thought I was cut. He was talking about the person that he wasn't talking about the person I was going to take. So good. You already talking about Mystique. I need somebody for stealth and everything like that. Why not pair Mystique with another person that got what I need and can teleport and got the Mr. Sneaky himself? That is none other than the only Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler.
Boy, you got the family on your team. You got the family on his team.
Go ahead and draft Azazel.
If you want to go ahead and do the second pick, I'm ready to, Jordan.
Just break it down to exactly why you went with like Nightcrawler.
If this team needs to carry out all missions, I need the high ceiling people. I need the guys that are safe and kind of are good at their bread and butter. And then also, I haven't drafted my tank yet. So my tank also is none other than the only, the heir to the throne of the most popular X-Men ever, X-23.
You know, like I said, you're gonna have to educate me and
that is
at home.
That
We're
is
familiar with that game.
That is Wolverine's child, I think.
Yeah,
basically,
clone child. Yeah.
So basically, we got Wolverine at home, but he was strong.
She's like great though. She has come on into her own. There are people who say that she might even be stronger. Like Wolverine, just not plot armor, but he just has the status that's always going to make people write him a certain way. But I mean, Laura just does a lot of stuff in some of her runs that make you go. Someone said that they like her more than Wolverine and she's stronger. I wouldn't argue with Mike. It's kind of like the Batman debate of like people are just like, oh, well, he can do this, that, and the third because he's Batman. It's like, yeah, but like I'm talking about somebody who can just like blow the whole planet up if they decide to. Like, yeah, Batman is cool and all, but it's like, but if Goku punches him hard enough, like he stops being Batman, you know. Skewed off example, but that level of she's awesome.
So what arguably makes her surpass Logan? I know Grant said that. What arguably makes her surpass him?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Kris, because I don't even know why she surpassed Logan.
I would just say like she just has the experience of like learning a lot from him, and her powers are not only just manifested, but they're kind of like manufactured, right? So I mean, Logan's healing factor and all that stuff is kind of great, but like she is what people attempted to make as like a better version, you know what I mean? Like she just had, and you know, Logan, as we know, because he's been alive for so long, he's so well traveled, he has access to a lot of different skill sets in terms of combat, but Laura does as well. Like there are just some things that like Wolverine was never exposed to for any number of reasons that she just has. So I mean, she basically does like have all of his stuff. And maybe more experience is the wrong word because she's not as old, obviously, but like more well-rounded. You know what I mean?
No, I see exactly what you mean. It's kind of like, you know, when Wolverine came into existence, you know, there was never a Wolverine before that. So now that there was a Wolverine, it's like, okay, we know what to do next time to make an even better version of Wolverine.
Exactly.
So, you know, we know what to do, what not to do, and what things to kind of throw at them to prepare them to be an even better version. It's Wolverine 2.0. Okay, I'm following the logic. I didn't know she had some like crazy hidden abilities that like even Wolverine can't tap into or something like that. Kind of like what's that boy named Miles Morales? How he got electricity power and turn invisible, but then you know original Spider-Man can't. I was just making sure there wasn't any hidden abilities like that I didn't know about. But all right, Grant. Right. Oh, Dom. Let me ask Dom. Dom. Grant's team is now completed. I'm about to pull the draft board up so everybody can see Grant's finalized team. I would like Dom's opinion. How do you feel about the team that Grant has assembled here?
He got a good one. I think that he has an excellent team there. with Jean serving as the leader. You got Rogue as your tank, and then Mystique. I think she's really going to. I think she's probably going to be the MVP of that team, in my opinion, because of her skill set that she has. And then of course with Nightcrawler, you gotta have a teleporter and X23 Wolverine. You know, she kind of goes by Wolverine now. So yeah, I think he has a really, really great team. And like I said, he kind of has the family dynamic going on between Mystique, Rogue, and Nightcrawler. So try to keep the family together. So I got to commend him for that.
Yeah, man, a strong female team right here.
Yeah.
All right, Kris, your go, man. Your last pick to complete your team. Who you taking?
This is a silly pick. Maybe not a silly pick. There's additional context to this character that could make people, feel like there are people who I could have taken over. I don't know what the restrictions of our teams are, like if these are the only mutants who exist within their universe. But with my last pick, I'm going to go with Mimic, whose ability is I basically just have Yuta on my team. I just have two people that if they stand by each other, I just have Yuta Okotsu. It's exactly what it sounds like. He can copy other people's ability. There is some additional context there. There are some ways around him. But if I have him, you know what I mean? Even the ability to copy some of the abilities of some of the mutants on his team, if he can't copy magic word for word, bar for bar, because there's other stuff going on there. But having two Scott Summers, having two Wolverines running around, having, a second Warpath, and then again, if there are other mutants who exist in the universe, we can say that he's, copied their abilities as well. I'm going to take Mimic. That's just a strong way to finish off. Grant kind of saved me from being silly because I was thinking about taking Nightcrawler because that's probably my favorite character. But I was like, I already have a teleporter, but I'm gonna take him because he's just my favorite. But I'll take Mimic. He can still teleport if he wants to. He can copy Nightcrawler.
There's a lot of X-Men with the ability to copy people's abilities. I'm sensing.
There's a lot.
They'll have different drawbacks, different things that they do, whether it's like copying or stealing, or what happens to the other person, what happens to them. He almost feels like he's not the safest by any means, but he almost feels like my one. I was just like, he can just do it and he don't blow up at the end and they don't immediately die. So like he can copy, his teammates as well if the situation is calling for. We need a second punch kick merchant. Sometimes you need a second punch kick merchant. Every now and then you run into that scenario.
Sometimes you need more hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
2 fists ain't enough. We need 4.
Put hands and feet to him. All right, Dom. Who will be the Mr. Forgettable? The last.
You use the coolest picture of him, Jordan. I feel so much better about my pick. You use the whole picture. Sorry to interrupt.
I was like, no, a good picture of this guy. I said, you know what, this is perfect. I'm gonna go with this one. He looks a lot more threatening here. All right, Dom. Who will be the final pick of the draft?
The final pick of my draft. All right, now I'm thinking long and hard on this one because I wanted to get my good picks out of the way, and then Kris and Grant took a couple of mine. So I was like, okay, I got do something about this. So I'm gonna go with another teleporter, and this is gonna be a pretty risky pick. But I'm gonna go. Some of y'all probably don't know who this guy is, but I'm gonna go with my guy and keep it black during Black History Month. I'm gonna go with Cloak. Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak is a good one.
Cloak and Dagger. Well, that TV show good. I didn't watch.
The show was okay. It was okay.
Okay. Grant, how do you feel about this last pick? How do you feel like Cloak, sliding in being the last pick of the draft?
Looking at Dom's team, I feel like that's the missing piece to the team. Mm-hmm. So I really like that. Especially with you got Storm, you kind of got your high ceiling type of person. You got Juggernaut, you got the tank, and then Gambit. You got the person that okay, everybody like this dude. Whoever hates Gambit, I hate you.
Basically.
And then I really like that pick.
Excellent. So with that being said, that kind of wraps up our X-Men draft. Give me a few seconds. I'm still like making some adjustments to the draft board, making some changes, make sure everybody fits on here nice and pretty for the viewers who are tuning in. Here we go. That looks great. I'm gonna slide him up a little bit more, and let me pull this draft board up so we can talk about it just a little bit. Boom, bada bang. You go. It's right there. I forgot I had draft board fixed up. So here are your 3 X-Men team, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, take a second. I want y'all to go to the comments. Let us know whose team you feel like is superior. Who do you guys think did the best job drafting a team? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you guys press like as well. Make sure you follow the channel if you hadn't already done it already. But before we get out of here, I do want to ask Kris, Dom, and Grant, unbiased, who do you guys think drafted the best team? What do you guys think was the most underrated pick or the best pick depending on where they slotted of this draft? Mm-hmm. What do you guys thoughts?
I think it really all depends on what needs to be happening. Like if we talking like a war, hey man, I ain't gonna say my team, but I ain't gonna not say my team. If we talking like, okay, we don't need no super crazy maybe like an infiltration mission or something like that, or like, okay, we need to go here and we need to secure this, but we don't need to go haywire and go crazy and things like that. I would say Kris' team. If we need like a super wide skill set of people and just as much versatility as possible, I would say Dom's team. So it's kind of, I like a mix of everything.
I'm gonna tell you what, Kris' team seems lethal. Like everybody on his team wouldn't that be somebody you want to run up on in the middle of a mission or some kind of covert operation? Like you run into this chick with a fire blade that can teleport around you, you're cooked. I feel like at that point, that's third person
in limbo.
I mean,
Kris there.
Kris basically got an X-Force team on his hands. If you guys don't know what X-Force is, I mean, that's the team that's the team that gets down and dirty. Like they basically ain't got no morals. So Kris definitely got a good team on his hand.
If they're like, we can't send the school children on this one, they're like, call them other folks up. We can't. They got lunch in an hour. We can't send them.
Kris, who's your favorite pick of this draft? Like not maybe necessarily your pick, but what was the pick you felt like, man, that was a great pick at that round?
I really think Grant taking it's like, it's obviously the first pick, so it's always going to be good. But I think Grant taking Jean first overall was it was a shock. It's weird because it's a shocker pick seeing her taken first as your leader, and then you think about it for longer than 3 seconds, and you're like, no, it's not. This is a fantastic pick. It's sure maybe it's a no-brainer. It's not the first person you think of, but it's just but if you're going to take that person at that spot, it's this is such a good pick. It's one of those it's so good that it's almost such a normal. You know what I mean? Someone sounds something is so spectacular, it's almost normal because it's duh. Why didn't I think of that? It just blows you in all you can think of. So I think that was a great pick. I think Dom taking Emma Frost, being able to take her in the third round was also good because again, she is just got great telepathic power. She rivals some of the other people who we think of. She's a little lesser known, so it is easy to sneak and be able to keep her because we crossed out Charles Xavier, but he basically has he got Charles Xavier home and with hair. So I think those are 2 really, really good picks. Obviously, Storm is a great pick too, but that's one of those. It's just Storm is a great pick no matter what. Wherever you can take Storm in your draft, she's always going to be good. But I think Jean Grey, number 1, is kind of giga-brained, and I think Emma Frost being able to sneak to the third round and oh, y'all don't want her to take her? Fantastic picks. I'll give myself a little bit of credit. I do like my Magic pick in the third round. I do think Magic, I think her abilities she can just tap into a lot of stuff. She is just able to get a lot of jobs done for me.
For sure. Like I said, great pick. It just seems like since she wasn't on Dom's and Grant's radar, there's a chance you could have gotten Nightcrawler and then double back and got her.
Yeah, I know.
You'd have had 2 teleporting supporting X-Men on the same team. But I think the 2 people you got in place of Nightcrawler, chef kiss. Dom, who is one X-Men that you wish you had got on your team that you didn't get a chance to draft?
Probably Magic. Probably her. Either Magic or Nightcrawler, one of those two. Because
Yeah.
I was hoping to get Nightcrawler as my teleporter of the team. But then I was like, you know what? Cloak can do it too. Cloak can do it too. So, but no, Magic or Magic, however people want to say it. Yeah, I feel like I wish I could have got her. Whose place would I ever take? I'm not sure, but I would have definitely chosen her. And then Kris was very smart to pick Cyclops as his very first pick because he is one of the greatest tacticians in all of comic book history, probably top five or even top three greatest leaders out there. So to have him on your team is very, very smart to have. So I definitely gotta give Kris his credit, and then of course with Grant, choosing the Omega level mutant for his leader of the team with Jean Grey, and then of course having you gotta have your rogue on your team, who can basically absorb anybody's power, which can definitely come in handy at some points if a team member is down, and then Mystique can basically the infiltration along with Nightcrawler on the side, and then you got Wolverine X-23 coming in as your wild card, the way I see it, and of course, that rounds out his team right there. So I think both Kris and Grant have really, really great teams. So I definitely have to give them credit for that.
One last look at the last one. Here's one last look at the entire board, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very, very good draft. I'm very curious to see what you guys in the comments, as well as people on social media, will say was the best team here. I think it's going to be hard to pick. I think it's going to be pick your poison type deal. I don't think this is definitively best team here, but we'll see what everybody else thinks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Any closing thoughts before we go?
Those are just all good teams. I think that everyone has people who can cover really whatever bases that you need. I think my team might be missing the traditional idea of a tank, but I think we have a lot of maneuverability to maybe not get hit with some stuff. But other than that, I mean, everybody picked perfect team. I can't think of a type of mission that anybody is ill-equipped for. I will say, Dom, I got nervous for you towards the end because I was like, Dom has some good picks, but his mobility looking a little scary. I was like, he's gonna get a speed. I'm surprised none of us took Quicksilver, none of us took Wanda. Mm-hmm. So I was like, is he gonna take maybe, and I know that is mobility in a different sense where he maybe can't do it with everybody else. But when you pick Cloak, I was like, okay, that's a perfect team. He just needs that one high mobility type character to really, not add some speed or anything to his team, no pun intended, but like he needs somebody who can just kind of help certain people get around in a easier fashion. So when you pick Cloak, I'm like, well, that's another perfect team on the board.
Another perfect team on the board. Mm-hmm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you guys if there's anything other kind of draft you guys want to do about any anime, cartoon, comic, you guys feel like we should do, make sure you drop that in the comments. Make sure you guys check out the Posse on Twitch. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're on everywhere. Make sure you guys check out the homie Dom901 on Twitch as well. You can Dom, let them know where they can find you guys. Also on other social media platforms.
All right. So like Jordan said, here you can find me on Twitch at Dom901_. You can find me on TikTok, DJ Middleton 4. And then you can also find me on Instagram, Dominic Jamil M, and let's see, Twitter, D Jamil M. So that's where you guys can find me with streaming, cosplays, other everyday type stuff, and yeah.
We'll make sure we put all that in the bio of this video so you guys can make sure you guys find him easily. So with that being said, we appreciate y'all. Y'all stay easy, stay problematic. We're out.